Welcome back to Best in Show Books. I'm Shelby.
I'm Jeanna.
Today we are going to be talking about our third quarter reads.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Third quarter reads. This was hard. My third quarter was rough. Rough reads.
That's funny because I was the opposite. I had
Yeah.
several reads that I chose and I really, really liked. So I had a hard time paring it down to 3.
Well, that's good. Good. Right now I'm feeling like, what's the last thing I read? Like a restaurant menu or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, the TV guide, like we don't even have TV guides anymore. Like the info blurbs. The info blurbs on Netflix. That's like the extent of my reading. And last night I was trying to sleep and the light was on. The light was on. And I rolled over and there was my husband just blowing through his book. And I was like, and so then I went back to bed and then the light was still on and I finally rolled over and I was like, are you going to finish that soon? And then I just rolled back to bed, rolled over, went back to sleep. And when I got up this morning, he had set that book into his finished pile.
Oh,
and I was
gosh.
like, he's blowing through books. It's like, I don't know. My time will come.
So even we get in reading slumps. So
Oh, yeah.
Don't think
feel bad.
Yeah. If you get into a slump, it's okay.
Yes.
You'll find the one that gets you out of it, or you'll find the season or the timing to get back into it. So I want to start with something that's different. We had a comment from a viewer. And I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
pull this
that's
up.
right.
And I'm going to pull this up because we love hearing from you guys. And sometimes you guys, the things you leave us are so cute and we talk about them. Even though maybe only one of us responds, we do talk about them.
Flipping pages 6550.
Yeah, this was on our unboxing last week. And you said you traveled over the Sierra Mountains to meet up with your mom to see the stage play. This was Phantom of the Opera that we unboxed. It was wonderful. Also enjoyed the movie. Didn't we all? On the way home back over the Sierra Mountains, my car engine seized up, so we broke down on the pass. I don't even know how you survived that just alone. I'd have been freaking out on a mountain. No cell phones at the time. Of course they weren't. It was night, and I didn't want to be stuck on the mountain, so I used hand cream for oil to get us down to a fire camp that luckily had a phone. The engine was destroyed, but the hand cream did get us a couple of miles with coasting. So crazy. Oh my gosh. I don't even know how to begin to respond to
That's a wild story.
MacGyver. You
Yeah.
just turned into MacGyver and you might be my hero. Like I would have just panicked and cried and laid in the floor and been like, I can't go anywhere.
But what a good story to be like, oh
Yes.
yeah, Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, I can tell you something about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not like, oh, I went and I saw it in the theater. It was like I broke down in the Sierra Mountains and I had to use. That's crazy.
So yeah. So thank you for sharing stories like that with us. We really do appreciate it. It does. We do actually talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
And so we appreciate that. So thank you for watching. And hopefully when you read the book, if you get to read the book, you'll be safe and cozy in a chair with a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
All right. So I am going to start Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. I love Alice Feeney books. I do. I think her thrillers are dark and twisty and weird, and the end is never the end. And so this one was one, when it came out, I didn't really know what it was about, but I was like, it's her book. I'm going to read it. It is a gripping thriller. I mean, a gripping thriller. And it's about a marriage and revenge. So, you got to love that, right? So Grady Green is an author. Okay.
Everything's fine. My kids are back there.
Oh.
They're just watching silently.
Are they on fall break?
They are on fall break,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But they're with my mom.
Oh, okay.
They had to drop some things off in the back of the
Oh,
store.
okay.
Sorry. I could feel little
Hi,
eyes on me.
guys. I was like, you're looking at my shoulder.
Yeah,
Who
sorry.
popped in? That's okay. It starts with Grady Green. He's an author. And
It's a good name.
I know.
An alliteration. Grady
yeah,
Green.
Grady Green. He's at home waiting for this very important phone call. His wife is out and she's traveling home to get to him before this phone call happens because it's going to tell him whether he made like the New York Times bestseller list. So when he calls her, she's driving home and he wants to tell her that he made the list. He's very excited. But while he's on the phone with her, something happens on the road and she stops. And he's like, don't get out, it's fine, just call the police. And she's like, no, I need to help this lady. She's in the middle of the road. So she gets out and then poof, she's gone. She just disappears, like literally just disappears. So Grady falls into this slump of despair and grief and anxiety. He doesn't write well. His wife's missing. his publisher says, you've got to write the next book. Like, we have this agreement and you have to. You're on a deadline. We've already passed the deadline and the extension. He has lost, supposedly, his house. Like, he's living on meager means because he was run through all of his book money. She's disappeared. She was the keeper of the money, so he's, like, really bad with money. So the publisher, it's an agent or publisher, she says, I have this house that used to belong to another author who has passed away, who was a very famous author and a very well-known. And this guy's like, oh, yeah, he's like my literary idol. Yeah. She's like, now that he's gone, I own the house. And it's on this tiny little secluded island in Scotland. So, like, no phones on the island, no cars on the island, you know, everything has to be left at the gate, kind of think Mackinac Island in Scotland. Like, it's all just secluded. So he agrees to go there. But when he gets there, the cast of characters on the island are strange and mysterious and odd. And you start putting things together with a kind of remembering him. Somebody else is remembering going to a therapist. You're not really sure whose timeline you're in on that one. But he thinks he sees his dead wife or missing wife on the island, like a doppelganger. So he's trying to figure out who she is. There's one phone booth, like a booth.
Yeah.
And there's one ferry that you never know when it's coming and going to get on and off this island. I'm telling you, this was a wild ride. You start to figure things out and you're kind of like, wait, did she? And when it's over, you look back on it kind of like, what was the movie with Macaulay Culkin?
Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. When it's
Haley
over.
Joel Osment.
Yeah. What'd I say?
Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin.
So I was like,
wrong
Home
kid.
Alone.
Yeah, no, wrong kid. Bruce Willis and yeah. So when it's over, you look back and you go, why didn't I see that? How did I not know? And I've talked to other people who have read this, and they were all the same way. And we've discussed things, and they're like, oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
I'm like, but did you realize? I loved this book. I absolutely loved this book. But it's one that your brain keeps working when it's done. So it's a dark thriller, but I loved it.
So I have never read a book by Alice Feeney.
Oh, okay.
What is your favorite book by Alice Feeney?
There
are quite a few.
I would have said Daisy Darker.
Okay.
But this one ranks right up there.
Yeah.
Because Daisy Darker is so well done. And it was the first one I ever read by her. I loved it. And I've measured all of them to that one since. But this one was so good. And it's brand new. And they've already got plans to make this into a movie, according to what the internet says.
Yeah.
So this one was really good. But I would almost say Daisy Darker
Still. Okay. Wow.
That one was really, like, it had me all the way to the end.
Yeah.
All the way to the end.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I need, something like a mystery to like pull me out of my reading slump. Maybe I did
like, and I'm pretty sure this is her book, His and Hers.
That is her.
And I really liked that one too. And I listened to it. So it has not a dual timeline, but dual perspectives.
Like a man and a woman?
Yes. So you get two different narrators. You get a female and a male. And I liked that. So that made it good on the listening part of that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So I really like her.
Good. Yeah. That's high praise, if it's almost up to Daisy Darker.
Yeah.
So good to know.
Yeah. It was well done. She did a great job. So, and everybody else I've talked to that has read it has said the same thing. And I was on hold for it forever at the library.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. Because we kept selling out of them.
Yeah. This is one that we regularly still sell out. And it's been out for like a couple months now.
Yeah. So actually we went to pull one today and I was like, it's gone again.
Yeah. We were going to hold it, but we're sold out.
Yeah. So I know I really enjoyed mine. The one you picked, did you really enjoy it?
I actually did really enjoy this one, okay? And I feel like even when I picked this, it was kind of the first stirrings of my reading slump. Because I was like, I need something really different and something unique. And so it's called The Austen Affair by Madeline Bell. And it came out, it's new this year. I read it shortly before it came out. And it was delightful. It is about a woman, an actress. Her name is Tess Bright, and she is kind of like a Hallmark level type actress. She's not like winning all kinds of awards and stuff like that. And so she gets cast as the main character, Katherine, in Northanger Abbey. They're doing a remake, and she is cast opposite Hugh Balfour, who is a very serious actor.
That sounds serious just in the name.
I know, yeah. And so it's like from the beginning, there's a huge difference in her. She really wants to be taken seriously, and he kind of looks down his nose at her because she is just like, give me a break. She's just this like B-level, B-lister actress. And so Tess's mom has died recently of cancer, and she and her mom were very close. And her mom was a huge Austenite. Is that what they're called?
I think.
You guys another tell us. Yeah. There's a name for like people, and I feel like it might be Austenites.
I know we talked about this before.
Yeah, we did. But anyways, they are just watching the Jane Austen adaptations and nonstop and quoting them and things like that. And so her taking this role in Northanger Abbey, she's really like, I'm, going to do this for my mom. It's something we love together. So they start filming, and these two just don't get along. And Tess is super bubbly and kind of over the top, and Hugh is just not having it. He'll be like, why did you say the line like that? I mean, he is just criticizing like everything she does. And there's a scene very early on where she is kind of trying to like, how can I, get close to him? How can I crack his shell? And she sneaks into his trailer.
Oh, gosh.
And he's not there. And then, she's kind of looking for, maybe she's looking for like something to get to know him better. I don't quite remember that exactly. He comes in and starts getting like his hair and makeup done or something. And he fields a call from his sister, and they are just talking smack about Tess. Aww. And so like there she is, in the closet, and she's just hearing him like rip her apart. Aww. And it was really sad. And so she does like kind of bust out. And she's like, how dare you, blah, blah, blah. And it's raining outside. It's on the, not the moors, but the English countryside because they needed an authentic setting.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. And so they get into this argument right there on the steps. There is a bit of a tussle, and she trips and falls. He falls on top of her.
Of course.
It's raining. There's a plugged-in hair dryer or curling iron or something. And so water, electricity, rain.
Bad idea.
and then like fade to black. And so when they wake up, it's not raining anymore. And they're like, oh my gosh, what happened? You're so insufferable. And then they're like, wait a minute, where are the trailers? Where's the set? And so you find out that they have gone back in time.
Oh, it's a time travel.
It's a time travel. And so they have gone back in time to like actual Northanger Abbey times. And so then they are walking.
Are they dressed in their period costumes?
They're dressed in their period costumes to make it even better. And so and this is like all on the back cover. They go and they find this house that is close to the village where they were filming. And it happens to be Hugh's ancestral home.
Oh, my gosh.
And they think that he is like a long-lost relative who died in the Battle of Waterloo.
Oh, my Lord.
And they're like, you've come home to us. And they're like, and this is. And so then, of course, he has to be like, this is my fiance.
Oh, fiance.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, we're going to get married because she's not wearing a ring.
Oh.
Or something like that. Yeah. And so then the story is, how do they get along? How they form these relationships with people back in time, with each other, of course. Okay. And then they're also like trying to get back to modern times.
Yeah.
So
there's no curling iron to plug in to get back.
No, yeah, do they even try? I think they discuss like maybe we should do that in reverse. Yeah. But that is not what they do. So I really liked it. It was light. It was fun. It gave very strong Austen Land vibes, which is like one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
I will say the dialogue was a little vulgar at times for me, and it's a romance. It's a modern romance, even though it's set in the 1700s. Yeah. So these people just, there was some.
Was it a chili pepper?
It's well, yeah. I can't give a good chili pepper rating. Okay. Because I'm not good at that. But there were probably like 2 open door scenes. And she even says in the author's note at the end, or like the credits, for lack of a better term, whatever author's note, she's like, Mom, Dad, Grandma, don't read chapter 27. Like she says something like that. So I really did enjoy how they came together. It's very enemies to lovers, obviously. And I love the time travel. I would have liked it to be a little cleaner, for lack of a better term. But I did really enjoy the story. I thought it was really unique. It was really fun. And it is one that I have had a good time, like, talking to customers about in the store.
It's light for you because you tend to read nonfiction or heavier, darker stories. True. So it gave you some lightness.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. And I like a romance sometimes. Yeah. And I love a period story. Oh, yeah. So
I like that it has a little time travel too.
Yeah. You would really like it.
I probably would.
You really would. It was so good.
It's been on my TBR, but I didn't really know what it was about other than it said the Austen affair. And I was like, oh, it's Austen. I got to read something about it.
Yeah. All right. What's your next one?
All right. So I'm going to stay in the thriller, but not quite as dark. So this is Last Scene by J.T. Ellison. Oh. And I really like her books as well. And funny enough, this quarter, I end up reading the same author at the same time in 2 different books twice.
Yeah, that's right. That was weird.
It was weird. So I picked up J.T. Ellison's. This one was really, I got it before it was released, like published, or released. Yeah, it was published, but it wasn't out yet for sale. But I was also reading her other book, A Very Bad Thing. Like I had a physical copy and a downloaded copy at the same time. So that was kind of odd, but it was good. I really liked her book, Last Scene. So this one follows, it's a psychological thriller, but it's not dark like Beautiful Ugly was. Like it's more family dynamic, and it deals with, I pronounced it Hallie. I think it's correct, Hallie James, not Haley. So I'm going to go with Hallie James because I know spelling sometimes, because I think.
Isn't that her? That's the girl's name in The Parent Trap. Annie and Hallie?
Oh, yeah.
James? Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's why that sounded familiar.
Yeah,
All right.
I think.
So Hallie James is a forensic scientist, and she is employed by, I believe, either right with the FBI or a lab that works with the FBI. And her marriage is falling apart, and then she gets fired from her job. Like, the snowball of hurt and depression and everything happens at once. And while she's reeling from all of this and just finding out about her job, she gets a phone call that her dad ends up in the hospital and has to have emergency surgery. So she travels back home to her dad to be with him while he's having surgery and stay in his house. And because she doesn't have a job, she can stay for a while and help take care of things. Of course, she tells dad, just taking like a sabbatical, I'm on vacation. But he can't find his insurance documents. And so she goes to the house to look for the insurance documents. She has believed for years, like her entire life since she was like 5 years old, that her mom and sister have died in a car wreck. And they left their hometown and moved away so that dad could work at a school.
This is giving very Charlie Donnelly.
Yeah.
Well, where she thought her whole life she was somebody else, right?
I read his book at the same time I was reading this
one. Oh, yeah?
Literally at the same time, because this was my, downloaded copy, and I had the book box copy.
Right, yeah.
So I was like, forensic, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really odd how it worked out, but yes, very similar, not the same. So she believes her mom and sister have died, but while she is digging through papers for her dad's insurance, she finds a file that has all these newspaper clippings about her mom's murder. And her sister is the one that murdered her mom and is not dead, but has been in prison.
Oh my gosh.
And now has been let out because she was a juvenile and is missing.
Oh my gosh.
So she falls down this rabbit hole of trying to figure out what was real and what was not. And it's also a story of memories. Like, what were real memories for her and what were memories that were affected by people telling her stories. So the things that she remembered, like she has this scar on her head, and it was supposed to have been from her being in the car accident as well. But she keeps remembering hitting her head on a fireplace. Well, it all plays into the story of her memories coming in and out and what she remembers as she discovers the truth. I really liked this one. I really liked it. And I really liked Very Bad Things of hers that I end up reading right after it. And I liked the Charlie Donnelly. So if you want to fall down the forensic rabbit hole, let me tell you, those are 3 books. This one was really well done. I really enjoyed it. And I like J.T. Ellison.
I like her books too. Yeah.
I like her books. So this was one when it came up, I was like, oh, I have to get that one. So
I read several of her books a couple years ago, and we even had a book.
Lie to Me? No.
Yeah, that sounds
Lie
right.
to Me?
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Something
I feel like
about
that
lies.
was, yeah.
It was partly in Paris. It was that box. It was like
Yes.
the Paris themed.
Yes. So anyway, it's a really good book. It's a thriller. It deals with a lot because you kind of, what would happen if you had to, uncover all of those memories that weren't real? Because I'm weird. I remember things from when I was really little. Do you?
Sometimes, although I will say, it was like last year, someone told me in all seriousness that they remembered being born. I was like, there is no way.
Okay, I don't remember that far back.
And I feel like I remember some things.
Yeah.
Like, I can remember being like about 5, maybe. Probably not before then. I don't know. What about you?
I do. I have memories of being 2.
Oh.
We lived in a house in Missouri, which is where I was born, and there was an older lady that lived next door to us that had this flower garden that was huge. To me, it was huge. Like, I was little, and I remember walking through it, and the flowers always seemed really tall. Mm-hmm. And we went back and visited the house when I was older, and like
they were like,
the yard was a normal size, and like it was like irises or something, But in my head, I remember them being really big, and my mom said I used to love to walk through that garden when I was little. And so her name was Mrs. Cup. So, but yeah, I do actually remember that, and I remember telling that to my parents one time, and they're like, "We never told you that story." So it was my actual memory.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm weird with memories, though. I do, like, sense things bring them back, and my husband will ask him, do you remember this? He's like, no. And I'm like, you were in the 8th grade. How do you not remember that? He's like, I don't know. I blocked it out.
That is a very excellent unplanned segue into my next book of memories and scents and things like that. So my next book that I read in the 3rd quarter was Remain by Nicholas Sparks and M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I forgot they did Yeah.
Yeah. So
odd combination.
It really is. Both of their names are on the cover. And I was like, how does this work? Because M. Night Shyamalan does movies.
Yeah.
Well, lo and behold, M. Night Shyamalan is doing the movie next year.
Oh.
And the movie is going to star Jake Gyllenhaal, amongst other people. It was interesting. So when I saw that they were going to do this book, I didn't even look what it was about. I was like, I'm going to read that. Yeah. Because I remember back in the day, I read a lot of Nicholas Sparks. Oh, yeah. Did you?
I read a few. I remember the movies probably more so than I remember the books because I got to the books from the movies. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I always enjoyed them. And I was younger. I always cried.
And some of them were super sad, like The Guardian, sad. And with the dog. But that was good. I mean, I read a lot of them. And I even remember someone, when I was in high school, side tangent, an adult woman, not like anybody you would know or anybody else, not my mom. I don't want to like give that across. Someone else said, well, when you start reading real books, come to me and I'll give you some recommendations. And I was like,
alrighty then.
These are real books and I am enjoying them very much. Thank you. And I will like never forget that. It was so rude and so condescending. And I feel like let people read what they want to read. Like
War and Peace is not the only book out there.
nobody is the reading boss. You can read what you want. So stepping off my soapbox, Remain by the book by Nicholas Sparks. The main character, his name is Tate Donovan, which took me a minute because there is literally an actor named Tate Donovan. And I was like, what? But this is a happy coincidence, I guess. So Tate Donovan is like an architect and he designs homes, but he has recently gotten out of a stay in like a mental facility. He was having some very bad vision problems, seeing things that weren't there and like things on the sides of his vision. So then like anxiety. His sister had cancer and they were very close. And shortly before she dies, she comes to him and basically says like, ghosts are real. Don't think that they're not. And so he is just really struggling with grief. He's got several things going on at the same time. Early on in the book, he's trying to process the sister's death. And at this point, it might be like it's been a year maybe or around there when it starts. And so then he gets out of this facility and he has a good friend who is super wealthy and is like, listen, I want to build this summer home with my family and I want you to come build it. And so it's kind of like a passion project. He's like, you can stay here, we'll kind of help you. And they're very close. And so Tate goes and he takes this job and he's like, I've arranged for you to stay at this house. and you can stay here while you're working. About this time, he gets a video message from his sister. So his brother-in-law is like, your sister told me to send you this when I thought you were ready. And so she says, you know, Tate, you need to be open to love and, you know, things like that. And she says kind of some very pointed things, and he, you know, the grief comes anew. And so he is adjusting to life in this home. And then like one day he comes down, he's been working on the house, and there's a woman there in the living room. And as far as he knew, he was the only tenant at this house. And she is just kind of like lounging around in her PJs, and he has a cat, and the woman is very friendly with the cat and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, I didn't realize you'd be here. Let me get you something to drink. And he does something like this. And so he leaves, and he comes back, and she's gone, and all of her things are gone. And so he is trying to figure out, he's trying to figure out who is this woman and what is the mystery behind her. And it's very apparent. It's called a supernatural love story. Okay. So it's very apparent that she is a ghost. And he knows this, and he like goes to his friend and is like, I don't really know what's happening. So Tate is trying to figure out what happened to her. Okay. And he can't tell her, like, you're a ghost. He doesn't want to tell her.
She doesn't know?
She doesn't seem to know.
Oh, okay.
And
interesting.
When she talks to him, she'll be like, oh, this is my house. You're a boarder. Okay. And so he kind of is remembered by her on like different days. She'll be like, oh, here you are again. But if he leaves, sometimes he will leave and then come, and all her stuff's gone. And he just kind of has to wait. It was good. I really enjoyed it. The M. Night Shyamalan part, I don't know if he like actually wrote this in the book, but there were times where I was terrified. Tate meets this girl, and then like right after he meets her, then like that night, he sees her upstairs in the bathroom in a different room, but she looks different. And there's a very unsettling noise going on. And so that is when he realizes like, something has happened, and it was something bad. Oh. So the story is Tate's relationship with this woman. Who is she? What happened to her? Okay. And also him healing from the death of his sister and how that kind of plays into it. But he's a really likable character. And I felt like, you know, you're rooting for him. And you kind of feel bad because he's got this like romance but it's like, how's that going to work out, you know? And
yeah.
So, right. And so I did really enjoy it, and I will be curious to see what people think of it. It's another one that was very clean, like spick and span. So I also appreciated that as I was reading, but I'll be curious to see what people think about it.
That's an odd pairing.
It was an odd pairing. Yeah. And I feel like I read an article that said one of them approached the other and was like, I just regard your work so highly. Yeah. Can we go in on this together? And then they just started with this story, and I thought, oh, like what a fun idea.
And the fact that it's already known that it's going to be a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, so Nicholas Sparks' books are already visual. Yeah. So with his vision, it'll be interesting.
It will be. And you do feel very much for Tate, you know, as he's trying to kind of rebuild his life, and then he has this girl, and he's got the sister, and there's the mystery of what's going on there. But the upstairs scenes, because they are like confined to upstairs, are very M. Night Shyamalan. I mean, I would read those and be like, oh my gosh. And I like, you know, it's coming because
because you're upstairs.
You're upstairs. And it's creepy because it happens the same way. So like he knows what he's going to see and experience, but he just doesn't know why. And it was, interesting. The more that I talk about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that was really good.
So when you first started, I was thinking Ghost and Mrs. Muir, which I don't know if you read that or saw the movie back with Gene Tierney. And she moves into this house, and the ghost is a captain, like a sea captain, and he's very, but they have this weird relationship, and it's a love story. She knows he's a ghost. He knows he's a ghost. So but I was like, kind of feel that, but it's more light. So I'm interested to read this. Yeah. I'm really interested to read this. This will be a good one.
Yeah. And it was good for fall. I mean, it came out in October, which was like very good timing for Spooky.
And already it's gone. We went to look for it again today, and it's gone.
I was going to hold it up for you all, but we're sold out. So
we're picking some good books. They're actually being sold out.
True, yeah.
So actually,
you've got the last one.
I do. And we are not scary. We are not thriller. We might have a little mystery, but it's historical fiction.
Okay.
So, and we're going to Berlin, Cold War, and America. So this is The Berlin Letters by Katherine Reay. Again, weirdly, 2 books at one time by the same author, and they both were Cold War, Berlin, Russia. 1980s was the current timeline, and then to obviously the late 50s and 60s with the Berlin. This one, I loved this one. This one had so much heart. It had so much about family that was really good besides the historical. So it's Cold War, and the CIA code breaker is Louisa Volker. She recognizes a symbol from her childhood when she is at work, these letters. So she works in an area where they still are going through old letters from World War II and old documents trying to figure out the codes because they think it will still help them because Russia is still having the context of the Cold War. So she's going through these documents with another coworker, and she recognizes something, and she's like, I'm just going to kind of put that aside for a minute. And then she goes home to her grandmother where she lives. And she starts talking to her grandma, and her grandma is very German. They had left Berlin when Louisa was very little and came to America. But grandma is still very German, very scared of anything to do with the government. Like, she can't get past the fact that back home, the government was bad or you couldn't talk about anything. So she doesn't really answer many questions for Louisa. But Louisa's grandfather had recently passed away, and he had taught her growing up how to solve riddles and codes. And that's how she would it was like scavenger hunts for her birthday presents, but it was always some code, some riddle, but usually it got to be codes. That's how she became a code breaker. So she goes into her grandfather's office, and he's kept papers and stacks of letters, and he loved to write letters. And so she goes through and she finds the symbol. And she's like, well, one of the things that she learned to do as a kid was to hide things in a floorboard in her bedroom. And she finds a letter from her grandfather, and it leads her back to her hiding place that she didn't even know he knew about in the floorboard of her bedroom. So she opens the floorboard, and there's these stacks of letters.
Oh, wow.
And so she was told that her parents died in Berlin when the wall was being built. And so grandma and grandpa have her, and then she was also raised along with their youngest daughter, which would have been her mom's sister. And they moved to America. Well, she finds out her father's still alive. These letters are written to her grandfather from her father in Russia. And so they were having this relationship back and forth, but it was written in code.
Wow.
Yeah. So she has to break the code, which she figures out, and she realizes that her dad is in a jail in East Berlin because he was arrested for being a spy. You get the story of how Louisa gets with her grandparents when they build the wall, which I learned so much from reading this book and the other one about the start of the Cold War. I love World War II history. Love it. And I really do. But the Cold War, for me, I was born in 1975. So I remember watching the wall come down in the 80s in school. That's all I really knew about the Cold War. I was too young to know what was really going on, but I've never delved into it. So this was amazing history. They literally woke up one morning and the wall was wire in the middle of the Berlin. They were allowed to go back and forth up until then. And then she was supposed to go across the line to her parents, Louisa's mom, for lunch, and they couldn't get across. As a kid, you see the wall and you're like, yeah, that's separated. You just can't get across. But the fact that it literally separated a city.
Yeah.
And it was really odd. I was really glad to read about the history of it. So Louisa goes on this journey of trying to figure out how to get to her father being alive, but also her CIA boss is like, no, we're not involved in this. The story of the father-daughter, the story of the journey, the forgiveness, anger, frustration, history. Oh my gosh, the history. Yeah. The amount of history that's in this book is amazing. And I'm the one, when I read the historical fiction, I'll Google things as I'm
Yeah.
going along. Because like, is that real or is that not? And she does a great job at the end, in her author's notes, telling you, like,
what was real?
This was really the timeline, or I moved it just a tiny bit to fit the story. Like, instead of August, it was September. You know, she did really well with that. So this book was great. And the other one that's along the same lines was the Moscow Shadow. Yeah, Moscow Shadow. And I loved her writing style. I put so many books on my TBR from her.
Oh, wow.
After this.
High praise.
Yes, because I loved all the history. I loved the way she wrote. Both books were really good. And amazingly enough, literally reading them at the same time, one on my Kindle at night and one with a physical book in my hand during the day, I still kept them straight.
Wow.
So
that is high praise.
Yes, but the history of Berlin and all of that, reading them together, it was like, okay, that really happened, and this is why this happened, because a little later on, this was over here happening. So I'm really glad that I read them at the same time.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so highly recommend it.
And fun fact, she is good friends with
Christy
Christy Cameron.
I know.
Who we had on the show
Yeah.
a couple months ago now.
Yeah.
Well, that was good.
Yeah.
You had a nice mix.
I did.
Just to recap for your third quarter.
I did. And I didn't have a slump in my third quarter.
That's good. That's
beginning of a slump in my fourth quarter, I will admit, though.
Yeah. I mean, the ones that I recapped today, I really liked them. Yeah. And ironically, they were both romances. So maybe what's going on?
She's a closet romance reader.
Maybe. I don't know.
And you were on vacation.
Yeah.
So you had some downtime away from, like, reading. Yeah. Like that meme I sent you the other day.
Yes.
All the books you take on vacation, and you buy more while you're on vacation, and you maybe read half a book.
Yeah.
Because you were enjoying life.
That's right.
And that's okay.
Vacationing.
Yes. Enjoying life.
Well, we would love to know what you read this past third quarter. What were some of your highlights? In fact, we could also take some recommendations moving into our own personal slumps. And this is just a friendly reminder that soon we will be reviewing the first Harry Potter book, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. We are going to be filming and airing that soon, and we've been asking a few questions over on our YouTube page profile. So stay there for some updates for that. And if you've already read the first book, if you are on the fifth book, if you just want to hop in wherever, please hop in and join us. We are so excited for this read along with you guys. And if you would like to purchase any of the books that we mentioned today, we will link them in a Bookshop link in the caption, and then that will go to the bookstore's Bookshop where you can purchase them online. Yeah, it's complicated, but it's easy in working it out. It just sounds complicated.
Thanks for joining us today and our quarter 3 read recap. Phew, I can't believe it's getting that end of the year. So we appreciate it very much. This is Best in Show Books. I'm Jeanna.
And I'm Shelby.
Have a fabulous reading quarter.